Okay, scholars, we're going to continue to work on percent problems, but now we're going to focus on these word problems. These are the type of problems that you're going to see on the EOG. You'll notice that the steps are the same. Step 1, set up a proportion, fill in the puzzle pieces. Step 2, cross multiply. And step 3, divide by the lonely number. Now, the issue with word problems is that you may not always see is, of, and a percent. So, with that said, we're going to also start looking for parts, totals, and percents. So as we read the problems, we're going to start thinking about what's the part of whatever it is that we're talking about. What is the total? What number represents the total? What's the percent? And of course, if it's a percent problem, the denominator is going to be 100. Let's get started. Number 1. Make sure your paper looks like mine. At the local animal shelter, 5% of the adoptable animals are rabbits. So that means that this 5% represents rabbits. If there are 60 animals at the shelter, how many rabbits are at the shelter? So we're looking for how many rabbits. I saw a percent, so I know for sure that I'm going to set up a proportion. Now, our first step is to set it up and fill in the puzzle pieces. This is a word problem, so we don't have the is, the of, or it gave us a percent, but we don't have the is or the of. So now we're going to start asking ourselves questions about what's the part, what's the total. So let's go back and read like a mathematician. We always read twice, at least. At the local animal shelter, 5%. Well, I know for sure that I can go ahead and insert the 5%. One of my denominators is always going to be 100, and that is the one associated with the percent. This says 5%. So 5% of the adoptable animals are rabbits. If there are 60 animals at the shelter, how many rabbits are at the shelter? So I notice that we're talking about rabbits, and I see that we're talking about animals. Well, I know that rabbits are animals, and that means that rabbits are included in this number, which lets me know that however many animals we have is going to represent our total. So down here, I'm going to write down a number that they give us for animals, which was 60. And we're trying to figure out how many rabbits that is. Rabbits are a part of the total. Rabbits are a part of the total. Now, moving on from here, this is the same step. The same system. So we cross multiply. Excuse me. 60 times 5 is 300. And again, I'm going to write down my answer. And then we divide by the lonely number. 300 divided by 100. We cross out the zeros. 3 divided by 1 is 3. Alright, let's look at number 2. Miss Emanuel is collecting baby formula for the Durham Food Bank. She has 6.5 gallons of baby formula. If she collected 30% of her goal, how many gallons of baby formula does she want to collect? Well, I saw a percent, so I know that I'm going to set up a proportion. And in this problem, it actually gave me a percent. So before I even go back to read, I'm going to represent 30% as a fraction. The denominator is going to be 100, and 30%, the numerator will be 30. Let's go back and read. Miss Emanuel is collecting baby formula for the Durham Food Bank. She has 6.5 gallons of baby formula. If she has collected 30% of her goal, how many gallons of baby formula does she want to collect? Alright, so this whole problem is just talking about baby formula. And if she collected 30%, that means that she didn't collect 100% or all of her formula. So this 30% represents the amount that she's already collected. So that's only a part of it. The amount that she collected is only a part of what she's trying to collect. So this 6.5 gallons represents a part of our total. Now the total will represent all the baby formula she collects. And we actually don't know this answer yet because that's what we're trying to find. How many gallons of baby formula does she want to collect? So our puzzle pieces are filled in. Now we can go ahead and cross multiply and divide. So in my calculator, 6.5, 6 and 5/10 times 100 equals 650. Writing it down so that when I come back to check over my work when it's time to study for the EOG, I have all my notes. So now I'm going to divide by the lonely number. So 650 divided by 30. And in my calculator, wow, that gave us a number that says 21 and 6. Now remember, this is only a 7 because the calculator is rounding so that it can fit in the screen. But these 6's are going to go on forever, which means we have to make sure that we represent it that way. So as our final answer, we're going to put 21 and 6/10 repeating. That bar lets us know that this 6 is going to go on forever and ever and ever. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Northern High School has 8 ninth grade classes. 2 of the classes have both gym and art. What percent of the ninth grade classes both have gym and art? Well, I know that this is a percent problem, so I'm going to go ahead and set up my proportion. And I'm going to add in my denominator of 100. Let's go back and read. Northern High School has 8 ninth grade classes. So we're talking about ninth grade classes. And 2 of the classes, so 2 of those 8 classes have both gym and art. What percent of the ninth grade class have both gym and art? So the what lets me know that I'm trying to find the percent. What percent? Well, let's go back to see what the part and the total would be. Northern High School has 8 ninth grade classes. I'm going to write that as my total because in all, the whole ninth grade has 8 classes. That's the total. And 2 out of the 8, part of the 8, these 2 classes have gym and art. And this percentage up here is going to let us know what percent this 2 actually is. So let's go ahead and solve. 2 times 100 equals 200. Just so we're clear. 2 times 100, oops, y'all. 2 times 100 equals 200. Do our 200 divided by our lonely number divided by 8, and that gave us 25. There's our final answer. So what percent of the ninth grade class have both gym and art? 25%. Okay? I am not going to do number 4. Again, this is going to be just like the last 2 problems on the last video. It is up to you to come back with these answers. Love you. Bye.